This section also contains a lot of speculation that I can't prove, unless there's something backing me up in the Japanese-only Ultimanias. Thank you, Nomura. But given Sora's character and the analysis of him thus far, I do not feel that my points are invalid. Personally, I feel like Days probably contains some of the most unnoticed character insight on Sora, both on his kindness and what pain he hides behind that smile. Even though the game focuses on Organization 13 from Roxas's birth to the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, Sora is still an influential part of the story. The biggest thing, of course, is the fact that Sora gave Xion an identity. Xion's contact with Roxas while Sora's memories were being scattered in Chain of Memories resulted in not only Xion receiving the Keyblade as per Xemnas' original designs, but also an identity. Even though Xion's appearance was always based off of someone else's memory, and the nature of those borrowed memories eventually led to her end, she still had her own identity. While she was a replica, she wasn't a copy of Sora, Roxas, or even Kairi. The memories she made with Roxas, Axel, Riku, and the other members of the organization were unique, and allowed for her own unique heart to grow. Even though Xion's story was tragic, her last words proved that she was happy she got to exist as she did in the first place. Which leads me to believe that Sora giving Xion an identity wasn't a complete accident. The fact that Sora felt a familiarity with Twilight Town and Chain of Memories means that Sora's heart felt a connection with his discarded body, Roxas, and the memories he was accumulating in his new, growing heart. So I don't think it's that far of a stretch to speculate that Sora's heart felt the emptiness within Xion, who was supposed to be a replica of him and Roxas, and wanted to fill that emptiness. Diz said that once Sora sees the heart in something, it then becomes real. So we could say that Sora's heart could see the potential in the then empty Xion and gave her and the others a way to see that potential. That speaks to how far Sora's kindness stretches. His heart saw a person when there wasn't one, and allowed that person to come into being by lending it his memories at the unintentional cost to himself. Roxas, being Sora's nobody, is obviously also affected by Sora's memory even though he isn't aware of who or where they came from. But the way they begin to affect Roxas towards the end of the game is what I find the most interesting. In his diary, he describes them as nightmares. He wakes up crying from experiencing Sora's memories in his dreams, and we're shown this when Roxas wakes up crying from reliving when Sora lost the Keyblade in Hollow Bastion. When we, the player, first encounter upon this moment in Kingdom Hearts 1, we feel betrayed and abandoned. Donald and Goofy, who had said they would stick with us, leave us to follow the Keyblade, now in the hands of our protagonist's best friend turned villain. But Sora and Beast's strong wills and determination rally us, getting us pumped to face whatever dangers may lay ahead, Keyblade or no Keyblade. However, Roxas's tears show how Sora really felt in that moment. Sora, who had taken up the mantle and was being praised as a hero, who thought he had finally got out of Riku's shadow, who thought he could save his friends, had it all ripped away from him in an instant. He had been betrayed by his best friend, abandoned by his two other closest friends, and could no longer fight. He thought he was special, only to realize he wasn't in the most crushing way. And at that moment, he was completely alone, abandoned and betrayed. And we only see how crushing that was to Sora through Roxas, just like how Roxas showed some of his sadness through Sora in Kingdom Hearts 2 and Dream Drop Distance. And knowing how devastating that moment really was to Sora makes his resolve all the more amazing. Sora was so sad in that moment that he wanted to give up, accept his fate as a fluke of a Keyblade wielder. But with Beast's help, Sora realized he couldn't and shouldn't give up until he rescued his friends and returned home. A goal that Sora continued towards unshaken until the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. But from Roxas' journal entries, it wasn't just that memory that caused him to cry. From what it sounds like, almost every memory resulted in that. Which means that Sora, despite what we saw in Kingdom Hearts 1, really had a tough time dealing with the loss of his home, family, and friends. But Sora persevered through his pain because he knew how important he was to the fight against darkness, and tried to enjoy it as much as he could. It's actually amazing, and I don't know about anybody else, but I think Sora needs a big hug.